This is the 30 Days to Sell Cars podcast. In this episode, I want to introduce you to the Reid Method, an automotive sales blueprint that will allow you to perform at the highest level in the car business and achieve automotive sales mastery. You're not going to want to miss this show. Hi, my name is Sean Cassy, and I'm beyond excited that you're able to join me today for this very special episode of our podcast, 30 Days to Sell Cars. I know our podcast is still young. We're only celebrating our 10th episode and not our 10th anniversary, but I still wanted to do something different and special. So in this episode, I want to introduce you to Everold Reid, a true car guy and gentleman with close to 3 decades in the car business, who has achieved top sales ranking, received numerous awards for his performance, and who adopted along the way the Kaizen philosophy of continuous improvement. Now, what you're really going to appreciate from Everold, and what made me specifically reach out to him for this podcast, is that Everold is not only an accomplished author, a trainer, a public figure, and podcaster who collaborated with celebrities like Les Brown and Tom Hopkins, but what really impressed me was that he's still working 6 days a week in a dealership, meeting customers face-to-face, selling cars, and closing real deals. Now that's impressive. You know the saying, those who can't do, teach? Well, Everold is the absolute opposite of that. He's in the ring just like you guys, generating leads, moving metal, and you're going to hear from the man himself what it takes to become an automotive superstar and earn the income and respect that you deserve in the car biz. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Mr. Everold Reid. Everold, thank you for joining us today on 30 Days to Sell Cars.
Sean, it's my pleasure. Thank you for connecting with me, being anxiously waiting, sitting on the other side of the microphone as a guest instead of a host, and connecting with your audience of aspiring and emerging auto sales pros.
If you want, Everold, please take a moment and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and how you ended up in the car business.
Well, I think this probably was by fluke, but it all started where I was on summer break from college, Centennial College, studying aircraft maintenance, and I went into a Toyota dealership, Dixie Toyota in Mississauga, as a 18-year-old, just about to turn 19 that September, looking for a summer job. And I always said they made the mistake of hiring me, so I started there selling cars, and for whatever reason, never left and never went back to college. And about a year and a half later, I ended up transferring to another dealership, not too far, but a much bigger Toyota store that was soon to acquire the Lexus franchise in 1989. And to my surprise, by the age of 21, they asked me if I wanted to become an assistant sales manager, and that kind of freaked me out. So I took that position and realized that they saw something in me that I didn't really know. So I was getting deeper and deeper in love, so to speak, with the auto industry because I now had more responsibilities. And that managerial position, I ended up staying at that dealership 5 years and became the sales manager of the store, the overall sales manager, at age 23, and proceeded to win the 1995 Grandmaster Sales Manager Award. So that sunk me deeper into the business. And then I decided, for whatever reason, to try my own dealership, my own used car dealership from 96 to 99. Thinking that I knew everything at age 27, I think I was then. And I quickly got burnt out. And then I returned to Toyota. I think that was 1999. Returned to Toyota and began setting some more massive sales records as a sales manager, and realized that I had this ability to lead. And I actually liked that even more, way more than selling. The ability to lead other team members to success. And I remember in that 99-2000 year, we drove with my management. I was the only sales manager, and I had one business manager. We went from 675 cars to 931 cars year over year. So that kind of put a stamp as to what my capabilities and what my true passion was. And that was in management and leadership and training. From then, it contributed that year of huge sales at that Toyota dealership led to the acquisition of a Lexus franchise in the same city by the same owner. And I was involved in a startup, in starting up a new franchise from the construction all the way through to hiring, marketing, planning, the whole works. So that even sunk me deeper into the business and the things and my capabilities and learning and my experience. And after a couple of years, I left the auto industry because I got recruited to the advertising industry because they were looking for salespeople to grow their business across North America, and there was travel involved. And I thought, yeah, this sounds pretty cool. So let me go out and fly around North America and sell advertising and offer marketing solutions. And that turned out to, after 2 years of doing that, I ended up starting my own company with two partners, and we ran that company for 6 years until I left. Then I returned to Lexus again in 2012, where I still am 6 years later at a Lexus store just outside of Toronto. And for those of you in the United States, that it's in Oakville, and that's just between Toronto and Niagara Falls area. So since I returned there, I've won the National President's Award 3 times, and the store has done really, really well as well. This dealership is also where I ended up releasing my book. In the showroom of this dealership, believe it or not, in November 2015, a couple of hundred people showed up to my book signing and my book launch in the showroom. We took some cars out, obviously, and made room and had a party. So that was great. And today, while I'm at Lexus of Oakville, I'm a guest lecturer at 2 colleges, Humber College School of Business in Toronto and Georgian College. As a matter of fact, I was just there a couple of days ago. It's the Canadian Automotive Business Institute, all while hosting a podcast, the Reid Method Insider, and conducting sales workshops, seminars across Canada and outside of Canada as well. So there is 28 years of me in sales, 20 of which has been in the automotive industry.
Wow, Everold, that is an impressive background to say the least. I'm sure listeners are appreciating your deep understanding of the car business because it's truly from the grassroots up. This was no free ride for you. Now tell us, how did you end up falling in love with the industry?
I'd say my affair with the auto industry is a bit more different than most. I'm driven more by the results and being a leader. So when I was thrusted in the leadership role, in the management role, that's what I preferred. That's why I enjoyed more. I didn't really, selling was good for me, and I really appreciated and liked dealing with clients and closing deals, but leading other people was where my strength was and where my passion is. I'm driven more by setting big, audacious goals, setting a plan in place and then killing it. My passion is more for the biz is in delivering the unexpected, delivering solutions to a client that they did not even expect or think was coming or even got anywhere else, delivering sales results each month or at the end of the year that are jaw-dropping, all while operating under the radar. I don't need, to be in the limelight to have great results. What I love is meeting unique people and literally wanting to reach out and help them, and people in turn who are attracted to helping me. Some of my best advocates and supporters are my clients who support me almost daily in my goals today. So that's a part of the business that I'm attracted to and really, really like. And the last thing is, all of that is wrapped up into delivering great purchase and service experience and a worthwhile career. So all of that to me is what sums it up for me.
Now, at what point, Everold, did you decide you wanted to create or needed to create the Reid Method, and what was the trigger?
Well, the trigger was after returning from the advertising industry in 2012. back to the automotive space, and I was shocked at what I saw. I was actually disappointed, frankly, a bit annoyed, where facilities had evolved to ultra-modern facilities, the technology in vehicles had evolved, the internet was, and the digital marketing and all that was taking full effect. But the sales process and the salespeople were very substandard still. And that was shocking to me because I stepped away from the business for 8 years and returned in 2012 and immediately had an impact. The owner of the dealership had owned the Toyota store as well as the Lexus store, and I was the only salesperson registered with a license to sell in both stores. So I held two offices, the only salesperson out of about 25 to be licensed in both because I was able to assist the owner and management in effecting some change, some positive change in terms of marketing, advertising, lease renewals, lease retention, customer retention, community engagement, the whole works. I basically assisted in turning the business around after returning, and that led me to write in the book because I'm like, I was away for so long. I returned. There's so much business there. There's so much available, but the salespeople were missing the boat. And I decided to write the book about, now by this time I had about 22 years experience. So right now I'm at 28 years plus experience. So I thought over 2 decades worth of experience, being able to return to the industry and to be able to have an immediate impact with the results and the bottom line was something to write about. I wanted to tell my story and how I could affect change. And I thought about what's called the blueprint, a sales mastery blueprint. And that's how my book is titled, The Reid Method, a blueprint for achieving sales mastery.
Now, obviously, there is a plethora of sales training available, some good, some not so good. If you had to tell listeners the one thing that makes your method a sure way to success, what would it be?
Well, it's a few things, but how to actually become a true successful sales professional that clients are attracted to for life. That's one. How to sell without really selling by really offering more solutions, more value. So I teach people in the book, how to become the trusted solutions provider by offering more value and convenience. I teach why it's better to be authentic in delivering solutions and offering alternatives that your potential clients won't expect or didn't expect. And that's usually always a surprise to them. I talk about how to exceed your clients' expectations in the purchase and service experience, and how to earn. This is fact. I wrote blogs about this, and this is what I practice myself, how to actually earn 5 to 6 times the average auto sales rep in Canada and the US. And I know these stats for a fact because I've studied them, and they're published annually. And based on my income versus the average salesperson's income in Canada and the United States, I am 5.7 times that average. So almost 6 times the average salesperson. So this is how I teach people in the book and in my method and in my coaching and training, my seminars, how to actually implement the sales blueprint in order to be successful with your clients and to be successful for yourself, earning almost 6 times the income.
5.7 times the average? That's crazy. I'm sure everybody listening is interested in cranking up their income by 600%. Now, Everold, why is it still important for you to continue to work selling cars daily?
Because as all great leaders do, they demonstrate by example. And the Reid Method is a proven blueprint for achieving sales mastery. And it's what I practice daily to earn 5 to 6 times the average auto salesperson in Canada and the US. So I practice what I preach, and I teach others what I practice and have learned for 28 years. And that's distinctively because my method includes personal development as its foundation. That's the core difference.
I absolutely agree with your philosophy on personal development. For me, money is something you attract by the person you become. Now, what at the core of your method makes your blueprint particularly relevant in today's day and age?
My method is relevant regardless of what you sell because it's adaptable to the fast changing consumer and retail space and aims to solve the client's core issues. It's relevant because you'll become the go to professional with my method. It's relevant because clients will appreciate what's different about you than your competition. The core of my method is to understand the how and the why questions of sales. This is ultimately what I try to answer in the book and what I said in the very beginning. I want to answer the how and the why questions of sales and what drives clients' buying decisions, what makes them say yes. And if you understand this, then you can establish a true blueprint for sales success. And the reason I was able to hone in on why I wanted to write about this was as I traveled across North America for 8 years selling advertising and marketing in over 41 states and 8 provinces, I always left asking why, why? Why did they buy from me? Someone that they may only see once or twice and never see again, but they would hand over thousands of dollars to for advertising. And I needed to answer and then I needed to find out why. And that's what I wrote about in the book.
What is the impact of social media on the way cars are being sold today? And has it changed the way you approach your work as an automotive sales professional?
Certainly has. We know that the typical car shopping cycle has dramatically changed due to the internet. In Canada, for example, the average visits to showroom, and in the United States as well, the average visits to showroom is less than 2 now. This is the latest 2017 Google survey, and they have things down pretty much down to a science. So less than 2 visits, and in the United States, it's about 2 visits, down from 5 to 7 visits. So that's one. The other is obviously more informed buyers about your product and the competition as well. People come into your showroom today and they know more about the cars than most salespeople because they've honed it online and they've compared 2 or 3 models that they are really considering, and they know the packages, they know the programs, they know the incentives, and they pretty much can zero in and know and decide exactly what they want. So it forces auto professionals to brush up more on their competitors as well. And the other thing is the main factor is engagement. Social media, the big factor is engagement and the response time. Salespeople have to know how to engage and to do it within a short time because if you don't, you're going to lose. And according to Google, this is again in the 2017 report, 67% of internet searches lead to dealership interaction. So 2/3 of all internet searches will lead to a dealership interaction, whether that's an e-lead, phone call, walk-in, whatever. There's so many ways now digitally that people reach out to the dealership. So if you want to win the sales, you need to win the online battle.
I couldn't agree more. Now, can the Reid method be applied in the context of automotive sales and social media?
It certainly has to these days. You have to embrace it. It's a big deal today, as I know many sales reps in my social media circles across the United States and Canada have branded themselves representing various auto brands. It's necessary. It's a necessary way for auto sales reps to seek greater career success, to engage more clients, build a personal brand, and to remain relevant. If you don't embrace the internet, if you don't embrace social media to put yourself out there, you're literally falling by the wayside. In my dealership, I can tell you currently we have clients that specifically seek out sales reps based on the Google reviews. So they'll walk in to the dealership and ask for 1 or 2 of us by name simply because they've seen the Google reviews. So you're affecting, if you want to increase your income potential, if you want to increase your customer engagement and social media and reviews, those are the things that will literally become your new referral base. social engagements, social media presence, reviews online. That's the new referral. By you communicating via social media, sharing a customer experience, whether that's a delivery of a car, whether it's a birthday present, whether it's an anniversary present, and you're putting a bow on a car, putting balloons, giving the client a gift, making an event out of the customer experience, that and posting that on social media. I've had many people reach out to me after posting pictures and celebrations and so on online in a video or just pictures, because they couldn't believe the experience that we were trying to deliver just while delivering a car. So there's so many ways. It's relevant today that salespeople really need to seek out what works for them and engage that even more.
Everold, one question I like to ask when chatting with an expert like yourself is there a question I should have asked you, but I didn't? And if yes, what is it, and what's the answer?
Well, for me, the question that I think is increasingly relevant is to ask why we don't truly perform closer to our God-given potential. And in my experience, since writing the book, publishing the book, and going through all the different steps to accumulating that success or completing that task, is asking myself, why haven't I lived up to my potential or even close to my potential? We will never really be at our full potential, but I think that's a valid question we should all ask ourselves. And the answer to that question is in the book itself. And I had to come to a realization for myself, and that is we simply conform too much and don't invest enough in ourselves. So personal development, and that forms the core of my book, is you can know all the sales strategies and tactics all you want, okay, and think you're this super salesperson. But if you don't invest in yourself and embrace personal development, you actually will never realize how good you could have been.
Amen to that. Well, my time with you, Everold, was truly delightful and insightful, and I'm sure our listeners will leave this podcast inspired to bring their career to the next level. I think you have a little gift for our members, if I'm correct.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to go to thereidmethod.com or the Chapters site or Indigo site or Amazon, you will see the first section of the book available for free. For you to read on, if you want to download it on ebooks or read it online. That is there. And also, I'd love to invite folks to tune in to the podcast and to my website, where I provide free blogs, weekly blogs, tips, strategies designed to propel your sales career.
Now, where can our members learn more about the Reid Method if they want to take advantage of the full benefits of leveraging the complete method?
First place is the website. We've got pretty much everything there. We have podcast episodes on the website. We have my blogs, tips, some of my strategies, and so on. And obviously, parts of the book is also there. My LinkedIn page, I invite you to reach out to me and follow me or join me on LinkedIn. Definitely on Facebook, we're also there, Instagram, and also on my very own podcast, the Reid Method Insider Podcast, where I've had very special guests like Les Brown, Tom Hopkins, and many other top worldwide professionals and thought leaders who will share with you their worldwide talent and their 50, 40, 30 years of experience in ultimate success. You can listen to the podcast. It's on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Play.
Everold, I really want to thank you again for joining us on our podcast and this special 10th episode. I hope you'll be back soon. Don't hesitate to reach out at any time if you have more insights for our listeners. You're always welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, what an episode this was. It was a pleasure to have you and an honor to introduce you to Everold and the Reid Method. I hope you liked this episode and that you'll be back for more. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify so you don't miss the next exciting tools and tactics I want to share with you. Make sure to also leave me a few comments and ideas on what you thought of the content Everold shared with us today and how you plan to use it in your daily life at the dealership. I'm curious to get your feedback. In the next episode, I want to talk to you about the importance of blogging and how it will help you reach off-make vehicle shoppers so you can sell more cars. I hope I catch you on the next podcast. Until then, I wish you a great week. Remember that we only have 30 days to sell cars when the month starts, and we probably have less than that if you look at your calendars now. So like I like to say, let's sell some cars.